entertainment-wise, these live-action movies have just been pretty bland. Like I said, it gets ruined or it gets tarnished. I think that's the best way to say it. It gets tarnished from their oversaturation of producing these, and also just their obvious agenda of inclusiveness for the sake of just being inclusive, just for a marketing tactic. It gets boring, it gets tiring, it gets cliche, cheesy, and like I said earlier, it feels belittling to whichever community you're shooting to. Like, hey, look at, we're doing it like what you guys do. We do it like we have it in Disney right here. Like, when you make it that obvious, it feels like you're treating them like children. Like I stated not too long ago, I was like, they've done it. Disney's done it fine for like a decade of just like saying, "Oh, this is it. All right, enjoy." Like they just drop it and dip.
Hire some black writers and say, "Hey, let's write some cartoons."
Original black movie, or
I like what you said earlier. Where you're saying it's tarnishing it, because I agree. It's like, what was wrong with the original Little Mermaid? When you change stuff, you're implying that something was wrong with it initially. You could say whatever you want, but that's the implication. It's like, oh, well, this Ariel was. It's like there's like we didn't like how she looked. We wanted to change it. You know what I mean? Like. Or little black girls didn't like. It's like my daughter liked Little Mermaid. I don't. My daughter never.
Everyone loves Little Mermaid. It's classic.
Exactly. My like
every little
kids
girl
don't think of like that. Like they make it seem like that, where they're like, kids need to see themselves. It's like, these are freaking animated characters with superpowers.
And that's a whole other conspiracy we won't even tap into. What Disney's doing with, that's a whole Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, but again, it's like, you don't need to see yourself in any of these characters. No. It's like, it's a fun story. Like, kids like Trolls is about trolls. Like, kids love that. Or they're like, oh,
I see
there's not any white trolls or no black trolls. They're all pink. What's that about? Like,
racism.
You know, when they make the live action Trolls movie, are they all going to be white or black? Like,
they better be all black.
Yeah, like, it's just silliness. Like, so I think it does like tarnish some of these movies when you're like, what was wrong with it? Blah, blah. It's like I said with Aladdin, nothing was wrong with Aladdin, but I think the good thing about that is they picked another iconic comedian and actor, Will Smith, who was just better at singing and dancing than Robin Williams was. And Robin Williams was iconic, and he did do a great job. But I feel like Will Smith in an acting role like that, I think Will Smith's just funnier than Robin Williams like that. I mean, I'm much more of a Will Smith fan comedy-wise than Robin Williams. I think he's great. I like Robin Williams in more of his serious roles than being goofy. But he just upgraded on it. And something like I said, I thought Beauty and the Beast was okay. Like, I don't think it was necessarily better than the other one, but they just remade the cartoon.
What they did with Aladdin, what they did was with hiring such a high caliber actor, like Robin Williams of his time was equivalent to Will Smith of status, obviously. What they did, and he brought his own take, and I think that's what if they want to recast or something like that, you need to bring someone who's either of equal of caliber of whoever you brought prior. Obviously, it's animation, but voice acting comes as a part of it. But also, like, who will bring their own spin to it. Yeah, obviously, with the unreleased stuff, we can't say much right now, but with the current stuff, we can.
And for Little Mermaid, the mermaid or Ariel can't have her own spin.
Yeah,
like, Flounder can. You know what I mean? Sebastian can. Yeah. But you can't really change her. Like, that's changing the movie.
That's changing the story.
And to me, that's implication you're saying there was something wrong with the original story. And I don't think that's a good thing to do, because, like I said, it kind of tarnishes it. And that's an iconic movie. And as, like I said, of a minority person, I was never sitting around watching any of those movies thinking, there ain't enough black people in these movies. Like, they're freaking cartoons.
Where's Black Nemo at?
You know? Exactly. They're cartoons. And black kids loved them. I didn't sit around thinking no black kids be like, I ain't like these movies. There were no black people in them. You know, it's like, kids don't think like that.
They don't
I feel
care.
like you're making kids think like that. I don't like that's where people get frustrated when I consider myself a liberal person, but it's like, I don't like y'all mess with kids. Kids should just do what they want. Yeah. And you know what I mean? And let their parents tell them what to think for the time being. Like, but trying to put little subtle messages in kids' movies to try and indoctrinate them before a certain age is like, why? Like,
it's turning simple quality stories, simple, original, iconic, memorable stories that you grew up with, I grew up with, into like I said, and we both agreed, is like a tarnishing into like just some race or gender propaganda. I can't think of the right word, but you guys know what I'm getting at.
I don't know what the word is, but I just think like they're trying to trigger people in a good way, and like no publicity is bad or bad publicity. All publicity is good publicity, and it's like, I think that's what they're trying to do, and they're trying to create a controversy before the movie comes out, where people have to go see the movie. People feel guilty. Like I said, people who didn't want to see it, they're like, oh, well, I don't want to go see it because my friends are going to think I don't like black people playing mermaids, and it's like, who cares? Like, man, maybe you don't. That doesn't mean you're racist if you don't want to watch a movie where Ariel's a different person than he was. And like, that's what they're trying to make people feel like, oh, you're racist if you don't like the changes we made to an iconic movie that you watched 100 times since you were a kid. I would say right now, if they change any of the core characters in Harry Potter to somebody who's black, I'm not watching it because
Same thing with Batman.
I would feel like
That was
that's
losing our
freaking
shit.
pandering. It's one thing to, you know what I mean? Like if they would have did it the first time to a character they didn't really give a color to, but like we had like, sorry, y'all did a movie, y'all gave colors to all these people.
Y'all gave over a decade worth
Yeah,
of
you know what I
content.
mean? More than that. Like shit, Harry Potter came out, I was in 4th grade.
I'll talk about the movies.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess the movie. Yeah, it's like, so don't now be like, oh well, we could just do whoever. Like, no,
Yeah.
you guys gave these people colors and faces, and you stick to it. And it's
Right.
like you don't fucking bow to the. I'm trying to think.
Media,
Yeah,
common,
the crowd,
yeah.
the complainers, and that's what I like about J.K. Rowling, because she stood her ground. And in a time where everyone bends to the trans community, she did not, and I like that. I have respect for her because she did do this beautiful thing, and them to try and be like, well, cancel Harry Potter because J.K. Rowling doesn't think trans women are actual women. Like, what does that have to do with Harry Potter? Who cares?
It's so random.
Yeah, it's like, who cares? Like, oh, because she doesn't believe what you believe, you can't read her book anymore. Like, to me, you're the ignorant person that's there. Like, oh, you have to believe what I believe or I'm not supporting you. Like, she doesn't say she doesn't, you know what I mean? Oh, don't read my book if you're trans.
Right.
It's for everybody. But she just doesn't believe that a trans woman can be a woman, whatever. But I was afraid that she wasn't going to have any involvement in it, but I think she's going to have heavy involvement in it. So
because with HBO, they've made it a point. I forgot who came out on HBO, but they said
JK every step of the way.
No, what was about Last of Us? So they said whenever we start doing these video or whatever, these readaptations of stuff like that, they're like, we're gonna do the same recipe or same, I can't even think of it, but the same setup they did. Like they brought in Neil Druckmann and they're gonna bring in the original creators as heavy
they
hands
said
in
J.K.
there.
Rowling's gonna have a major hand in it.
But they're saying that for all of their, so whatever they're producing,
so I don't
the
think
creator's
they're
always
gonna
gonna be there.
PC inclusion type of stuff. They may change like. I was reading. They said Hermione might be a different color, maybe because they say in the book she's just classified as curly hair.
Yeah,
like she's just got frizzy hair, and I guess black girls could have frizzy hair, mostly any frizz. But again, I just don't like it. Why we have this thing, everyone loves it. Like no black people are sitting around thinking like, why isn't Hermione black?
Right.
Harry Potter could have been black. Like nobody's
Who
thinking.
cares?
I feel like they're creating problems amongst the people, and I don't like that. I don't like. Nobody. I've been reading Harry Potter my whole life. Nobody and all these movies, and nobody's ever came up and been like, you know what? There's not no black people in these movies.
Same thing with Batman. Like I've never heard anyone complain about Batman. Even like the spinoff is called I Am Batman.
The only time people complain is when it's like a real life movie where black people should be in it, but they're not. Like nobody's complaining about made up fake stuff. Like nobody watches Snowfall and be like, there's not enough white people in Snowfall. Like you know what I mean? Like. Yeah, well, even though some people were doing that with Luke Cage. I remember when Luke Cage was out. They're like, there's not enough white people in Luke Cage. Like, it's about a superhero.
Was it in the Bronx?
Yeah,
too?
the ghetto of the Bronx.
It's like,
oh yeah, there's not enough white people there. Like, oh,
No.
you wonder why? Like,
okay, that's a good point to end off on, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Before